Welcome to this explainer, where we're tackling the ultimate travel question for anyone planning a trip to the Big Apple. When is the true, absolute best time to experience New York City? You know, it's a concrete jungle that never really goes out of season, but your actual experience on the ground? Well, that can vary wildly depending on what month you step off the plane. So today, we're going to dig into the data and some insider local insights from multiple travel experts to help you plan the absolute perfect trip.
Let's just shatter a huge myth right out of the gate. There is no single perfect time to go. Seriously. And that's because the city literally reinvents itself every single season. The real question you should be asking is, what kind of New York do you want to experience? Are you chasing the pure magic of the winter holidays? Maybe the calm of early spring, the high-voltage energy of summer festivals, or the crisp, cozy colors of fall? The exact timing of your trip is going to completely dictate the crowds, the prices, the overall vibe, and even how the locals themselves move through the city. So looking at how the year breaks down, we get a really clear map of what to expect with the weather, pricing, and the crowds. It basically falls into high, shoulder, and low travel seasons. Now, high season actually hits twice. You get it once during that vibrant, bustling summer stretch from late May to early September, and then boom, it hits again during the massive holiday rush in November and December. Then we have our shoulder seasons, spring and fall, which offer a really nice middle ground. And finally, the low season, from January through March. This is when the crowds completely thin out and prices plummet. But, you're definitely going to be braving the freezing cold.
To make sense of all this, we're breaking the decision down into 5 actionable categories. The sweet spot seasons, embracing summer and winter, doing NYC on a budget, iconic New York events, and finally, pro tips for booking.
Starting off with Section 1, the sweet spot seasons.
If you ask the locals, they will consistently point you to the shoulder season months, specifically May or October. They consider these the absolute best times to visit, full stop. Why? It's all about that perfect balance. You get mild weather, completely manageable crowds, and absolutely stunning foliage. Think about it. In October, the summer tourist rush has packed up and gone home, and you get this crisp air and vibrant autumn color everywhere. Imagine walking the High Line in just a light sweater, or hearing the crunch of leaves under your boots as you stroll through Central Park. And the exact same logic applies to late April and May. The city thaws out, the parks burst into colorful bloom, and you can actually snag a table at a sidewalk cafe without waiting an hour. It's just the ultimate sweet spot. Warm enough to walk all day, but cool enough for cozy evenings.
Moving on to Section 2, embracing the extremes of summer and winter.
Now this is where things get really interesting, because the contrast between the seasonal extremes is just stark. On one hand, you have the vibrant, sweaty, festival-heavy reality of July and August. Yes, summer brings sweltering heat and high humidity, but it also unlocks these amazing outdoor concerts in the parks, incredible rooftop bars, and long, lazy afternoon trips down to the boardwalk at Coney Island. Then, completely on the flip side, you have the freezing, much cheaper reality of winter. We're talking icy winds whipping right off the Hudson River. But here is the trade-off. December offers those world-famous, iconic holiday lights and ice skating. And once you push into January and February, you get the absolute quietest streets of the year. You can casually explore world-class museums and cozy indoor cafes without throwing elbows to get through massive crowds.
All right, Section 3, doing NYC on a budget.
Listen, if saving cash is your absolute top priority, the data points very clearly to the post-holiday lull of January and February. That is the cheapest time to fly and score low hotel rates. It is a direct contrast to the massive price spikes you see in December. And December makes sense, right? It carries a huge holiday premium. Millions of people are flocking to the city for the Rockefeller tree lighting, the Fifth Avenue window displays, and New Year's Eve in Times Square. Prices just go through the roof. But literally the second New Year's Day passes, that demand completely vanishes. Airlines and hotels drastically slash their prices just to fill empty seats and rooms. So if you don't mind bundling up in a heavy winter coat, January and February are your undeniable golden windows for keeping money in your wallet.
To put that into perspective, travel experts note that a budget of exactly $1,000 is genuinely enough to cover 4 days in NYC. That's assuming you travel off-peak, rely on the subway, and eat casually. Now sure, if you're booking luxury hotels and fine dining, you can blow $1,000 in a single afternoon. But if you visit during those cheaper winter or late summer months, a modest budget is totally realistic. It leaves you enough to comfortably afford a mid-range hotel, entry to the major tourist attractions, and some truly fantastic, authentic local food. Instead of dropping big money on a sit-down meal every night, you can grab a $3 slice of legendary New York pizza, hit up an incredible halal food truck, or explore those vibrant neighborhood delis. You're basically eating exactly like a local.
Let's shift gears to Section 4, Iconic New York Events.
If you're someone who likes to plan a trip around a specific cultural or natural event, timing is literally everything. Take the famous Central Park cherry blossoms, for example. Knowing the difference between the early-blooming Yoshino trees and the late-blooming Kwanzan trees is absolutely key. The Yoshino trees bloom first, right in early April, giving you these delicate, light pink and white petals. But once those fade, the Kwanzan trees take over in late April and early May, and they offer these much deeper, fuller pink double petals. So depending on the exact week of spring you show up, the park is going to offer a completely different visual vibe. If you want that perfect picture, you got to know your trees.
But hey, it's definitely not just about the blooms. The city's event calendar is absolutely packed year-round. Foodies, you'll want to target January or July for the biannual restaurant weeks. You can score amazing prix-fixe deals at some of the city's finest dining spots. Love a good parade, June is phenomenal. You get the incredible energy of the Pride celebrations, plus Coney Island's famously weird and quirky Mermaid Parade. And of course, as we push into late autumn and winter, you get the absolute titans, the classic Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and the legendary Rockefeller tree lighting.
And finally, Section 5, Pro Tips for Booking.
When you are actually sitting down at your computer to book those flights, you want to target a very specific window, exactly 30 to 60 days out. This is your absolute sweet spot. Why? Well, it's a super common trap. If you book 6 months early, airlines will often slap a premium on those fares because they know you're an eager planner trying to lock down dates. On the flip side, if you wait until the week before, the business travelers and desperate latecomers have already snapped up all the cheap seats. Hitting that 30 to 60-day window is when the pricing algorithms adjust, things stabilize, and the actual best deals hit the market.
Also, keep the number 2 in your head. Why? Because Tuesday and Wednesday are consistently the 2 cheapest days of the week to fly into New York's airports. Midweek departures are just significantly cheaper. You're naturally avoiding the massive demand from 2 huge groups: the weekend vacationers clogging up the airports on Fridays and Sundays, and the corporate crowd flying in for business on Monday mornings. Honestly, simply shifting your arrival from a Friday evening to a Tuesday morning can sometimes save you up to $100 a ticket, and that is money you could be spending on a Broadway show.
All right, once you actually touch down, you're going to want to channel your inner New Yorker. Here are some rapid-fire survival tips. First, you will be walking miles every single day, so comfortable shoes are completely non-negotiable. And walk fast. New Yorkers always have places to be, and stopping dead in the middle of the sidewalk is the ultimate tourist giveaway. Next, secure your dining reservations well in advance. Also, whatever you do, don't rely on taxis during rush hour. The subway is almost always faster and infinitely cheaper. And finally, do yourself a favor and get out of Manhattan. Some of the absolute best food, culture, and views the city has to offer are waiting for you across the river in Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx.
So there you have it. We've seen that the best time to visit is entirely subjective. It's totally up to you. Will you brave the January cold to score cheap flights and empty museums? Will you embrace the sweltering summer heat for free outdoor concerts? Or are you going to target that golden sweet spot of October for perfect sweater weather and fall foliage? The data's all there, and the city is waiting. So, which New York is calling your name? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and happy travels.